Welcome to this Saturday travel and history tip, and we are going way off the beaten path. It's in the far northwest corner of North Dakota, north of Theodore Roosevelt National Park. We will be going to Fort Union Trading Post and Fort Buford. A whitewashed wooden fence demarcates the perimeter of the Fort Union Trading Post National Historic Site's partially reconstructed post near Williston. The property lies along the Missouri River on the border of Montana. John Jacob Astor's American Fur Company built the fort in 1828. Even though a structure is called a fort, it isn't necessarily a military operation. It could be a trading post, as in this case. After a steep walk from the lower parking lot under blazing heat, we reached the location of what was at one time the ritziest trading post on the Missouri River. Built in 1829, the post drew Assiniboine, Crow, and Blackfoot fur traders who exchanged beaver pelts and buffalo robes for goods at the fort, which employed up to 100 people. That's simply amazing. That's a hustling, bustling place for sure. Linked to St. Louis, Missouri, 1,800 miles away, this was the most successful and longest-lived of all the frontier trading posts, and now it sits out in way rural North Dakota, off the beaten path. The post, never a military installation, was dismantled to build nearby Fort Buford, which is where we're going next. It is located closer to the confluence of the Yellowstone and Missouri rivers. Prince Maximilian and John James Audubon visited Kenneth Mackenzie, the bon vivant overseer, at his impressive bourgeois house. The house now serves as the visitor center. The red roof mansion on the plains was reconstructed in 1987. Exhibits include many items excavated from the site during reconstruction. After we left Fort Union, we headed to go see Fort Buford. But first, there was a quick stop at the State Historical Society of North Dakota's Missouri Yellowstone Confluence Interpretive Center, which houses a lovely museum and great views of the confluence along a paved trail. The center is located adjacent to Fort Buford State Park. We stayed parked in the Interpretive Center parking lot and actually hoofed it on down the road to the Fort Buford State Historical Site. The fort was built in 1866 to protect the confluence of the Missouri and Yellowstone rivers and surrounding territory from Indian raids. Sitting Bull led several of these raids. Named for Union commander of the Battle of Gettysburg, Major John Buford, the fort housed 6 companies of soldiers at its peak. Now this one is a military fort. The fort also served as a detention area for tribal leaders and those who fought, being relocated to reservations. 2 famous leaders detained there include Chief Joseph and Sitting Bull the last in July of 1881. One of the buildings that can be toured is the Field Officers' Quarters, where on July 29, 1881, Sitting Bull met with Major John Brotherton to surrender. He did so by handing his Winchester rifle to his young son Crowfoot for him to hand the rifle to the major. The fort also served as protection of the railroad and telegraph line construction. The fort was abandoned in the fall of 1895. A boardwalk leads to the few existing structures. Over the winter of 1866 through 1867, Fort Buford's garrison was repeatedly harassed by tribal warriors angered by the establishment of the fort. Fort Surgeon James P. Kimball noted that these raids were led by the Hunkpapa leader Sitting Bull. Following that first winter, Fort Buford's garrison was strengthened with additional troops. Over the next decade, Fort Buford went through 2 expansions and eventually housed 6 companies of soldiers. The fort was officially abandoned on October 1st, 1895, after almost 3 decades of service. It's all a part of American history. Learn it, love it, appreciate it. Don't let them steal our history. Share our American history. Next Saturday, we will make 2 stops at Fort Clark and Fort Mandan in North Dakota. If you have missed any of our fort series, I want to encourage you to go back. If you appreciate our content, tell others and repost on your social platforms. Thank you.